guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a get ready with me using quite a few new products. There are a couple of things that are new that just have been out for, I don't know, a little bit that I just didn't feel the need to do a dazzled or disappointed review on. There's one that's really just a couple weeks old, but the YouTube community is so saturated with reviews on this that I know you can like get what you need from the videos that are already out there, but this way you can see it in action and see what my thoughts are on it without like a formal review. So that being said, we've got several things to go through here, several new things that hopefully if you're interested in, it helps you. We've got like the Watermelon Glow, the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Spray, the Milk Makeup Hydro Glow Primer, the Tarte Founcealer Foundation, the NARS Exposed Palette, which I wasn't going to pick up and I did, and of course the Riviera palette by Anastasia. So if you're interested to see how I came up with this look, or if you just want to kind of chat and see what I think of each of these products as we go, then just keep on watching. Hey guys, so I had started the eye before I realized I wasn't even recording. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the other eye, even though you see something going on right here. So we are going in with the Anastasia Riviera palette, and I am going in with the shade Can right here. It is the purple shade. I'm just going in with a denser blending brush. I have not done a transition shade at this point. We are first going into this one right here. So I'm just going to place this down the outer portion of the lid. And I'm grabbing quite a bit because I'm just kind of like laying it down. I'm not going to do a whole lot of blending at this point. I just want to be able to intensify that shade there at the back of my lid. So taking a little bit more, now I'm going to start working this into the crease because this is also going to be my crease color. And then here in a little bit we'll go in with the transition color. So you notice how I'm leaving like a little bald spot here, so that is intentional. Going in with a little bit of a more, I mean the other one was dense but it was shorter, this one's a little bit longer. I'm going to go in with the shade Palm, it's this brown right here. And taking quite a bit, quite frankly, because that is what's going to go on that little bald spot out at the outer portion of the lid. And I'm just doing this to help deepen it up a little bit, not really for anything else, because that purple is really pretty on its own. But this kind of helps intensify it and deepen it up just a little bit. I'm really not going to use this in the crease except for right here. But aside from that, I'm just using it here on the outer portion. And I'm kind of going in with a light hand just so that I don't overdo it and then have to clean up any mistakes. And I also don't want to cover up this purple right here. Next up, I'm going with a fluffier blending brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Cabana, which is that mustardy yellow. And that's the shade that we're going to use as what is our transition shade. Almost seems kind of like an oxymoron that we're putting in a transition shade once we've already done all this, but it really looks nice to have the yellow just kind of peeking through. And I find that if I do this step before, I end up hiding most of the yellow, and then I have to do this anyways, this step. So why not just do this step after I do my deeper colors and save myself that first step? So there I just see the yellow kind of peeking through, and it looks really pretty. Next, I'm going to go in with my Fenty Pro Filter eye primer, and I am just going to prime my eyelids. Now, I already did this, but when I lay this down directly with the wand and don't blend it out, it just makes my foiled metallic and sparkly shades pop, and it really has something to adhere to, and I think that's why it just really intensifies the color. So I'm really just going to place this in that empty area, and I'm going to overlap the purple a little bit, kind of just taking it into, like I said, into that purple, not necessarily going 3/4 in, but almost, and just going up to the crease, almost kind of like doing a little bit of a cut crease, but not really. Now I'm taking the flattest shader brush I have. This one is super flat, you can tell, and this is what I have found to be the best for applying these kinds of metallic shades, and I am going to go in with the shade Seaside, which is right here. It's that silvery metallic shade. I'm going to go in with as much as I want, which is quite a bit, because I'm really looking for an intense look. So see, there's quite a bit that I have on that brush, and I'm just going to start laying it down. I don't sweep it. I just lay it down right there where I placed that Fenty primer. And these metallic shades I find to be super intense, like right out of the gate. You don't have to be building up sometimes. So like the, was it the Soft Glam palette? I can't remember. The one that came out for the holidays. I found that one to be like my least favorite as far as like just how it built up and the intensity of the metallics. So this one is very different from that in that it just builds up very quickly, very easily. The metallics are very soft, very intense, very pigmented, and like I said, when I lay down the primer the way I did, it just goes on with even more intensity. Now going back in with Can, which is the purple shade there, we're going to kind of lay this over where those two shades meet, because if not, we're going to end up with this really harsh line right here. And so I'm just looking to blend that out. So I'm just laying the purple right over top. And I am using like a sweeping motion just because if I pat it down, then it ends up not really covering that line up and it looks funky. If you sweep, it also ends up kind of blending the purple into that silver, and it ends up creating like a really light purple in that middle area, which kind of makes it look like a gradient effect and not just two harsh colors back to back. Now that we've finished that, it's time for some work right here in the inner corner. So I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer. I can't even tell you how much I love this concealer, and you'll see once I put it on, once we start doing foundation, how good it is. But I think this probably is one of my favorite foundations ever, to include high-end. I haven't really tried a whole lot of drugstore concealers. There's been a couple over the years that I have used. Sorry, by the way, I just dotted the concealer on my hand. I am taking a angled pencil brush or liner brush, and I'm going to just dip some of that concealer, or dip that into the concealer. Both sides, because that's what I'm looking for. But this concealer, it blows my mind that it's only $5, because I think it works better than some of the high-end ones that I have tried, and I have been using it pretty nonstop. So taking some of this, it's time for some detail work. So y'all have seen me do this before if you've seen some of my Get Ready With Me's. I'm just coming right here and I'm just going to sweep this like in that little area. If I'm not careful, I'll accidentally place it somewhere where I don't want it. Like I did. Darn. Okay, so just working my way up just right along the line, and then just kind of taking it on my inner corner down to just the very start of my lower lash line, creating a V basically. It's now time to use my favorite shadow of the palette. Now I'm going to tell you, I need to disclose this is a pigment. It's not necessarily an eyeshadow, and it is a neon pigment. It's the shade Bahamas. This is probably the most neon pink I have ever used, that I've ever come across, and it is my favorite shade in this palette. It's what really sets this palette out or apart to me, and has just, like I said, the whole color scheme of this palette, I don't know if I said this when I wasn't recording, but the whole color scheme of this palette just works. There's lots of pops, there's metallics that just really stand out, and that pink shade, you know how some palettes will have that one shade that stands out, like the Naked Reloaded has that one coral shade, and this is it for me, the pink. And so the pink is a pigment, it's not an eyeshadow, and it's also not safe for the eye area. Most neon pigments are not, so, but brands do that. They throw them in an eyeshadow palette. I don't know where else you'd use them except for trying to use it as a blush maybe. I have no idea. So I don't understand that, but I have been using it on the eye area. So I just want to disclose that in case you did not already know. So taking my angled liner brush, I've kind of wiped it down from the concealer, and I'm just going to coat this little brush in that hot pink shadow as much as I can. We're going to have to re-dip into that shadow a couple of times, but basically I'm just going to lay this over top of that concealer. And this is what is going to, so that little line that we created and then that little area on the inner corner, this is where this is going to go. Anywhere you've got that concealer. This just kind of, I don't know. I like how this looks, just this technique in general, not necessarily, well, I love how the hot pink looks there, but just doing this, like putting the concealer there in the corner, it just really looks kind of unique, you know? This part takes a little bit of work because you kind of have to keep on dipping in, and you have to be a little careful. And you guys know me, I don't do complex looks, And so honestly, if I can do this, then you can do this. I don't do complicated. And so yes, while this seems a little bit more complicated, because it is that added step that if you don't have time for, you're not going to want to do it. If you do have the time for it, then it's totally worth it. But it's simple enough to where even I can do it. So like I said, if I can do it, then you can certainly do it. See how it adds that just extra? Love it. I went in with a ton of pigment on that brush. Like, I didn't tap off the excess or anything. So that is more my fault than anything. So if you see that fallout, don't think that that's the norm, because I usually don't get that with this palette. So we have got that done. Now, pretty much the top part of our eyelids is done. I'm going to add some liner, some mascara, and then we are going to start with our face primer while my lash glue dries. So be right back. Now while we're waiting for the lash glue to dry, I'm going to go in with this primer. This is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. And I ended up buying the small size. You can buy the big size or the regular size. You could also buy the small size. I buy so much regular size stuff, and then it takes me forever to go through it because there's always new stuff coming out. So I opted for the small one to see if I really like it and then go from there. So I've been using this for a few days now. I like that even the little one has a pump. So I'm just going to squeeze some of this onto my hand. So this is what it looks like. If you are familiar with the J1 Jelly Pack makeup gripping primer, then you will pretty much assume what this consistency will be like. If you're not familiar with that one, it is almost like a, how can I put it, like an Elmer's glue type texture, which seems kind of scary, but it's not. It's just what is so tacky that helps your makeup adhere and last all day long. This is a gripping primer as well, but it's got like moisturizing, I don't know, benefits, I guess. And so what you do is you place it on your face and then you let it sit for a minute before going in with your foundation. If you don't do that, then what will happen is it just will make your makeup or your foundation pill, and then it doesn't look like it's supposed to. So you go ahead and you put it on. You'll see that it's kind of tacky, but as it starts drying down, that tackiness starts to subside, and you can really tell like the moisturizing side of it. Like I said, I've been using this for a few days now, probably the last week or so, and my makeup has not looked, my foundation has not looked this good in a very long time. This is so good. I'm almost wishing I had bought the big one now, but for reference, this is 0.33 fluid ounces. I paid 15, and then I think it's a full fluid ounce is 30. So obviously it's more cost effective to go the bigger one. You get more for your money, but for trying it out, I opted for the small one. So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and pop on my lashes, and then we'll start with the foundation. My lashes are still drying, so I'm going to go ahead and let them still continue to get tacky. So for foundation, I'm going to go in with the Tarte Founcealer foundation. Now this is also not a full size. This is a like trial size that I ended up getting with one of my Sephora orders, but for reference, mine is in the shade Light Beige, which is 22B, and that's typically my shade because that's usually the light neutral shade. I also go with light medium neutral, but they didn't have that. So I've been using this for a few days, and let's go ahead, and it does have SPF 20 in case you're interested. This one has a little pump, which is nice, and so I'm going to just pump some of this on my hand. Now, I have been, if you've, again, been watching my tutorials or Get Ready With Me's, I usually dot the foundation all over my face and then blend, but lately I have just been really liking the result of going in directly with my beauty sponge, like everybody does, and just grabbing my foundation directly from there and then applying it to my face. I think in dotting it on my face like I was doing, it was shearing it out too much. I wasn't using enough. I also don't want to use a ton to where my skin looks cakey, but it just was not looking as good as I would like. This particular foundation, I don't remember what the claims on it are, but because of the name, I think it's supposed to be kind of like a foundation and concealer in one. I like some Tarte foundations, like the Amazonian Clay one, but aside from that, I find that I am not really a fan of their foundations. And so this one, it's okay. It doesn't give me that much of a, like, it doesn't do enough to where it would warrant me want to go buy it and replace any of the other top foundations that I have. So it's okay. I don't think it's, you know, it's not bad, but it's also not the greatest one I've ever used. Next up, we are going to use the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. Oh my gosh, you guys. So you already know this. You've seen this all over, I am sure. The doe foot applicator is very large, very similar to the Tarte Shape Tape, but you'll already know that as well. This is a very matte concealer, so I do find, but you'll already know also, I've got these little fine lines and wrinkles right under my eye, and any concealer I use will always have, like, will always show those a little bit. But as far as covering my dark circles and looking smooth everywhere else, this does that. And I just am astounded that it was only $5, which blows my mind. But you've also probably heard that this dries very quickly, so you have to work fast. I don't use a ton, so I do apply it to both eyes and then go in. But yeah, if you're used to like taking your time on each eye, then I would highly suggest doing one eye and then going in and doing the other. Because if not, then yes, you will have that issue because it does dry very quickly. It's very matte, and also once it's in place, this thing does not move. So like I said, I just, the fact that it's $5 and also the fact that it lives up to the hype, it makes me very happy. Because sometimes something will be super hyped up and then all of a sudden you try it out and you think you're getting a deal because you're like, yes, it's a drugstore, I'm really, like, I'm getting something that's comparable to high end, and then you try it and you're like super disappointed. That is that. The concealer is so amazing and for the price, and I am going to continue to use it quite regularly. Going in with my Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder just to set my under eyes and a little bit of my face, just with a little e.l.f. brush, and not going too much because I don't want it to look cakey. Like I said, this foundation already makes my skin look a little powdery. I don't know if I said that. Now I can't remember. It does make my skin look a little bit powdery. I'm going in with a fluffy blending brush, and I'm just going to start putting this on my face. But like I said, not a lot, because this foundation looks, if you keep on building on it, it can just end up looking kind of cakey and gross and powdery, and I'm just not a fan of that. Okay, so then let's move on. So I need a little bit of bronzer. I'm going to use the new NARS Exposed palette. I wasn't going to pick this up. I wasn't going to, because I have the one that they released at Sephora for the holidays, and I thought it was going to be very similar. I swatched it in store. I was like, okay, it's not so similar. Then I started seeing people love the highlighter, and I was like, ugh. Well, I had a gift card that my husband had given me for Valentine's Day, and it was 4 times the points at Ulta. I was overcome, and I picked it up. So I'm going to go in easy peasy with this tried and true right here, which is the Marc Jacobs Tantastic, and just going in with my Tarte. This is like a, I don't even know what this is called. I got it at Ulta, and I'm pretty certain, oops, that you can only get it at Ulta and not Sephora. I mean, you can also get it on Tarte's website, but I think this is one of those double duty beauty products that is only available at Ulta. Moving on to back to this palette. Something about this cover is so satisfying. It's like wavy. It almost looks like it's supposed to be water or something. I don't know, but I really, really like it. You know me, I'm a sucker for packaging. Sometimes I buy things only because the packaging is super cute, which is so the wrong reason to buy something, but just using it like a little angled brush. And I think I'm going to go in with the shade, what's it called? Come Hither. Come Hither. I had not even noticed that shade name. Interesting. Okay. So I'm just going to grab some on this brush. Now, these are that formula, if you remember the holiday one with like the wave, was it a wave pattern? I think it was the same wave pattern. Maybe it was a spiky pattern to match the cover. I don't remember, but it was the same formula that it's very stiff. You know they're, gosh, what's it called? The dual intensity, is it dual intensity? The blushes and highlights that they had released, that it's like super stiff and it feels like really smooth to the touch, but it's very, very stiff. This is along those same lines. It takes quite a bit of building up if you like, you know, a good flushed look. But what I like about this formula, and so a lot of people don't like this formula because it's a little bit more, not difficult to work with, but you do have to, like I said, build it up. So I like that it looks like skin. It doesn't look like I have a layer of powder over top. It doesn't look like I'm wearing blush. It just looks like a natural flush because it looks like my skin. And now we're going in with the Maybelline Puma highlighter. I was so happy to get my hands on this. I had wanted it, and when Ulta released it the first time, it sold out so quickly. And I thought, okay, it is what it is. And then it ended up coming back in stock, which I didn't think it would. So we're going to go in with this one for reference. Again, I am a light to light medium, and a lot of people have been wondering if this is too deep for their skin tone. So if you are fair or light, just know my skin tone so you know how to gauge if this is for you. It's in the shade 08 Knockout, but there was only one, so I don't know why it would have a number. Anyways, so if you are not familiar with this, Maybelline has collaborated with Puma, and there's like a mascara, there's some lip products, and there's some weird eye products or cheek products, I don't know. But this is what I really wanted because look at that glow, and you know I am a glow queen. I love anything that glows super, super intensely. So I'm going to take quite a bit. Now this does have like a shift to it. It's kind of like a peachy pink shift. I'm not going, so those of you who know me know I will usually go with a cream highlight underneath to make my highlighter pop, but for purposes of this video, I am not going to, so that you can see the intensity of this, since I'm trying to do a little mini review for you. Do you see this? Like, are you watching this right now? This is ridiculous. But it is, I mean, it's not too deep for my skin tone. However, it quickly could be if I did too much. And so I think on my fair skin tone ladies, I think this would work more as an eyeshadow for you more than a blush, because it does have that peachy gold shift that is even a little deeper than what I go for, but it looked so pretty that I just knew I wanted to try it out. Okay, we are going to, before we put on a lip product, we're going to go in with the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Ultra Fine Mist. So this little guy, I love the packaging. Again, super unique, very cute. It's 2.53 ounces, and I will tell you it was $28. So I didn't put 2 and 2 together when I placed my order. When it came in, I was like, this looks kind of small for $28. I started comparing it to my other setting sprays and realized it's very expensive for this size. And so it stands like this and it opens like this. It's got the pump. I love the packaging. You guys know I love the Watermelon Glow line. Oh, hold on. I need a total squirrel moment. I need to do my lower lash line. Oh, okay. Going in with Monte Carlo. Sometimes I have these squirrel moments, guys. Just so happened to be on camera today. And I'm like now in a hurry because we are about to go to church. Okay, now the eyes are done. Now the lower lash line is done. Let me get back to my regularly scheduled programming. So this spray is quite expensive. It smells good. I love the Watermelon Glow line, and so I already knew it was going to smell good, but I will tell you this is very similar to the Marc Jacobs coconut spray in that you have to press the nozzle all the way down in order to get a decent spray. If not, it acts quirky and sprays kind of funny. It's also ultra fine. So you know, like the Morphe continuous setting mist that's very, very fine. It's like that, but it's not continuous. So it almost sometimes feels like you're not getting anything on the face, which can be disappointed because then you keep on going down with the product and you're like, I don't know if I got enough on my skin. So anyways, just know that, but I am going to put this on for today. You do have to shake it up. And it says to use it like, I forget, 8 to 10 inches from the face. I go closer because if not, I don't feel like I get like any product. So last but certainly not least, we will go in with the lips. I'm going to use the Anastasia lip gloss in the shade Dainty. I feel like this is pink, peach, but nude enough to go with this look. And I love the Anastasia glosses. Okay, this is what we've got for today. I hope you enjoyed, found it easy to follow. I'll see you in the next one. Well, that brings us to the end of today's Get Ready With Me. I really hope you enjoyed it. Real quick, I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Pretty much gave you like a mini review throughout the video as I was using them, so you kind of already know what my feelings are on these. But this Milk Hydro Primer, love it so much that as soon as this finishes, I will repurchase the big size. This is one of those times that I wish I had purchased the large size, but that's okay. I hands down, I think this is kind of just right up there with my Silk Canvas Primer by Tatcha, which you guys know is for me like my ultimate favorite. This is close right up there. I love it that much. As far as the Tarte Founcealer foundation, I think it's okay. I don't think it's anything super special. It gives me kind of like a powdery kind of finish that doesn't look super amazing. It almost looks like my skin might be a little bumpy in certain areas, and other foundations don't do that. I don't think it's a bad foundation. I think it's just a little bit thicker in consistency because it also acts as a concealer, and it's just not my cup of tea. So that is that. As far as the Riviera palette, this is probably not even probably, this is going to be an oxymoron, probably and hands down. This is hands down my favorite Anastasia palette, which is saying a lot. The Narvina palette was my prior favorite, and this just took that spot. So I love this one so much. Just so much about it is so, so good. Just everything from the color scheme to the pops of color, which we haven't seen in an Anastasia palette to date. And then the metallics, they just perform so well, so creamy, so pigmented. They go on easy, they blend and glide easy. I find the mattes in here to perform very well as well. The can shade right here, it can be a little patchy, but I mean, it's nothing like super crazy and difficult to work with. Y'all saw that it took almost no time at all to put together this look, that shade included. So just all in all, this is my favorite palette from the Anastasia lineup of eyeshadows. And then let's see, the NARS Exposed palette. I really, really like this. I can see why people wouldn't like it because yes, the formula is, you have to build it up. It's not something you can go in with a heavy hand and then just one application. If you want a true blush application, you gotta go in 2 or 3 times, but I love that it looks like skin. It doesn't set like powder over top of my skin. It doesn't look like a cakey layer right there. It just blends in, literally melts into my skin and just looks like a flush to my cheeks. I love it. Now, I did not use the highlighter today, even though this one is very, very intense. I did not use that one because what we are wearing today, as y'all know, is the Maybelline Puma highlighter, and I love this one as well. This one is just, it's the best drugstore highlight I have ever found. Now, like I was saying in the video, it is a shade to where my fair skin tone ladies probably would struggle, and it would best work as an eyeshadow for y'all. But I am a light to light medium skin tone, and it works very well for me. However, it is a little on the gold side. It's not typically what I go for. It does have a pink peach shift, and but I like it very much, and I think for $8, it was well worth the price. Lastly, the e.l.f. 16-hour Camo Concealer. This thing is so good. Probably one of the best drugstore finds ever, if not the best drugstore find, which that is saying a lot. I find this to be comparable to a high-end concealer, which is difficult because y'all know for me, drugstore is very hit or miss. Like usually miss than anything. So this was such a breath of fresh air. I was glad to be able to find it at Walmart. It was $5. Blows my mind that it's that inexpensive and this good. Like, you would never be able to tell that I have dark circles. So love, love, love it. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of this video. It's already very long. I'm going to include the scripture verse of the day down here just in an effort to give you motivation, some love, some encouragement. I hope you're having a wonderful day, a wonderful week. And if you're new to my channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I'd love to have you as part of this YouTube family. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, found it helpful, useful, whatever the case. If you'll give me a thumbs up, that would help me very, very much. I will see you guys in the very next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.